Hey guys, it's Vandiezo back with Cardfight Vanguard as in the Vandy weekly reviews. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and stuff. This time we're covering more reviews for DC Set 8, almost ending near the set. So this week we have new reviews for Heroes, and we also have upcoming reviews for the new Mythic for Vezirug. Unfortunately, we're not going to get the new Mythic for Varga, but I'd be damned if we did. First up today, we have Bone Staff Mage Garniva. Grade 3 200% 13k base, has a beautiful moon in her background. Auto placed on rearguard Soga from the hand, soul charge 1, and perform on the following based on the grade of the card soul charge. If it's a grade 1 or a grade 0 until end of the turn, she'll gain boost and 5,000 power, but if it's a grade 2 or a grade 3 until end of turn, she'll gain intercept and also gain 5,000 shield. She'll gain intercept until your opponent's next turn. Honestly, pretty solid because she'll be able to intercept and be a 5k shield if you end up losing the quote-unquote 5k shield off the grade 2 soul charge, or if you lost a grade 1/grade 0 off it, you'll just get your booster right back and she'll get an extra 5k on top of it. Honestly, not a bad grade 3 support card, but not something you really need for a deck. I mean, you could run it for Bartholomew's because it's an extra grade 3 and an extra soul charge or so. It's a possible like 2 over 3 of there. Otherwise, it's like a 2 of tech for generic purposes. Moving on, we have new Galactic B Hero support. Galactic B Hero Sleek Kaon, aka the Furry card. Grade 1 boost 5k shield, aka base. Auto, when this card is scouted in general, if your Vanguard's a B Hero, Soul Boss 1 choose a card with B Hero on its different card name from this unit from your drop zone scouted to your base. So essentially, you scout 2 cards with price 1 by Soul Bossing 1. Well, thanks to all of B Hero's current support, plus its new main grade 3, you have Soul at the wazoo, so essentially it's just Soul Boss whatever and get a free scout. The only downside is this card's a vanilla if it's not being scouted, so it's like a 50-50. In my personal opinion, you don't need this in B Heroes, but if you want to run it, it's a 2 of, because again, you can just kind of like keep rescouting this as long as you find a way to get it back into the order zone. Then we have Galactic B Hero 11 Pranada, who I honestly kind of hate, but I more hate because of what the grade 3 does. So grade 2 intercept 5k shield, 10k base, all don't place on rearguard circle. If you have a Vanguard B Hero in the card name and you have not put a base into your order zone this turn, scout a card with B Hero in this card name from your hand into your base, and then search your deck or drop zone for up to 1 base card, put it into your order zone. If you search your deck, you shuffle it. Okay. Upsides to 11 Pranada. Technically speaking, with how base cards work, you don't have to already have a base set to scout something. It's just the card scouted will go into drop zone. However, if you don't want to lose your card, you're going to have to set a base first, meaning you're not going to be able to proc this on your turn 2 unless you've already preset, like, you know, the die base from Dayusha. But, hey, free scout and also get you a base from your drop zone, which is awesome because I just learned recently that you can send an order zone to drop zone and then get it right back for a discard, so that's pretty nice. And then auto rear guard when it attacks into a grade 3 guard unit gets 5,000 power turn for each different name bases among your order zone. So, you know, right now we have 2 bases. Apparently there was a soft confirm that there'll be a 3rd base at some point, so 25k swing isn't that bad. My only thing with this is that now we have 2 cards in B Heroes that search the deck for bases as long as you have not put an order into your order zone this turn, but in reality you're only going to run 1 of them in your deck because this is what the new grade 3 does. Galactic B Hero, Stately Closer, or as I like to call it, Galactic B Hero, reminder of All Might the Abridged from the Anime Boys, because God, I love Foster Home Smash. Reference that if you know what it is. Grade 3 200% 13k base, contains Vanguard Circle. During your turn, if your soul has a grade 3 B Hero with a different card name from this unit, it gets 5,000 power. Why specifically in soul, I will never understand, because B Heroes have 1 card that can hard soul charge consistently, and the odds of you hitting the card that you want into soul are kind of 50-50, but I mean, fair enough, 18k base for some reason. And then Auto Vanguard, at the end about this unit attached to anything, Counter Boss 1, and instead of scouting the heroes like it should, put 2 of your rear guards with B Hero and their card names into your soul. Not like the deck didn't have soul anyways, but sure, let's just give them more soul and not return stuff into the order zone, which would be actively better. Choose one of your grade 3 cards with a different card name from this that is scouted, write it as stand, lose a drive for the turn, and then if you road, scout this card, and at the end of the turn, choose one of the cards scouted by this effect, aka this unit, and write it as rest. Okay. It's not bad. This card loosely states in its card text that at some point Bushy is going to make a card for B Heroes that clones this card skill, or they are prepping for a possibility, because otherwise it would have just said Superior Rider Stately Closer, or a card of the same name as this unit from the order zone. Instead it specifies card that was scouted by this effect and it only scouts itself. So at some point they're going to print a card that gains abilities, but what would that be? I have no idea, and when, I also have no idea. But clearly it's supposed to Superior Ride Dinos off this because there's no other grade 3 of the Vanguard skill for some reason, but being able to, you know, get a superior ride is great regardless of the opponent's Vanguard's grade, especially if the Dinos has double crit on it, so that's 2 Vanguard attacks, one of which will guarantee that double crit and 28k behind it. Only downside is, though, again, this card specifically requires the grade 3 in order zone, which isn't too hard to hit, but it also sends your B Heroes into soul instead of binding, or send them to order zone for some reason, and it also costs CB, which eats into your, you know, Dianos plays, but also your Arma, whatever her name was, play, the last B Hero card from before DZ started. It was a grade 2 that could also search an order zone. It was really good because it also allowed multi-attack, but it ate into CB. Personally, I don't run it in my deck anymore, even though I really loved her, and I hate Stately Closer for making me get rid of her. But hey, you know what? The deck can put orders into orders enough with Levine, so I'm not that mad. I don't like this card personally, but we work with what we have. Moving on, we have Wisdom Brave Shooter, grade 2 and 5k shield, 10k base. A card for Flagberg, which I feel like at this point Bushy should give Flagberg specifically a mask. The reason why I specify a mask is because every other card that has come out before DZ Set 4 has gotten an evolution. Literally every single ride line. The only exception being Flagberg. And why I think it should be a mask specifically Flagberg should get is because Flagberg was introduced at the same time as Gravidia and introduced at the same time as Greedon. What do those two decks have in common? They both have mask. I feel like Flagberg should get a mask. Are they going to give it to it? Maybe not. Should they give it a new grade 3 in general? Sure. Or should they give it a grade 4? Either or, just something. Because it feels like the deck just needs a new Vanguard. Like how Eugene has a bunch of good support, but they need that new grade 3. And I feel like Flagberg's in that same boat. Anyways, auto and placed on Rearguard Circle. If you have a grade 3 grade Vanguard, Flagberg in the card name, energy last 3, choose True Dragon from each job zone, call it Rearguard Circle, straight up nets you any True Dragon that's good, and then continues Rearguard Circle. If your Vanguard's a grade 3 grade Flagberg, it's boost. Cool. It's a booster. It gets you a Rearguard out for only 3 energy, which you get every single turn like the energy generator. Not a bad grade 2 at all. Easy 2 over 3 of tech. And I'm not saying that the card that they give Flagberg, that'd be a new grade 3 or a mask or whatever, would make the deck immediately better. I'm just saying to finish the set because everyone else has gotten an upgrade, they should give one to Flagberg so he feels included. Then we have Algorith's Assault. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base. Okay, this really cool looking card that reminds me of Jamie Alcaraz for some reason. Continues Rearguard to Guard Circle. If your Vanguard's a grade 3 grade to Flagberg, all your 2 Dragon units get Intercept and 5k shield. I so badly wanted to put this into my deck before then realizing that even if I do end up having multiple tier dragons on board, typically one is in back row center, the other one's in another back row circle, so 2 of those can't intercept, and then the last one is inlet pulse, which then goes assault at the end of the turn, so I'm essentially just losing out on the 5k benefit anyways, and on the rare occasion where there is 2 in the front row, it's not going to be worth intercepting with them unless I absolutely have to. So not a bad grade 1, but you're only running this for budget reasons, so 2 of. Then we have some really good cards for Rotovisor, which I think are fun. Ketan Sage Leafa, grade 2 and 5k shield, 10k base, which looks exactly like Transcode from Yu-Gi-Oh! Continues to Rearguard a Guard Circle. If your Orzon has 2 or more arenas in it, it gets 5,000 power and 5,000 shield, acting will per its turns. So a 15k base and a 10k shield once you have 2 or more orders, which is great. And then Act Drop Zone. If your Vanguard is a grade 3 grade Rotovisor and you do not have a Rearguard the same card name as this card, Energy Blast 2, Rest in Arena, calls card to Rearguard Circle. Honestly, not bad because while yes, the grade 3 Rearguard for Rotovisor does end up costing 3 energy, A, you're not using energy for the first few turns, so it's fine. And B, we do have an order that gives, or specifically an arena that does give your units on hit energy charge 2. So being able to make that cost free is great. Not to mention the fact that this card can call itself back, which basically makes it a better Combine Rusher because it also has extra shield while it does have less power. It procs it while your opponent's at grade 2, and again, it calls itself back without having to cost CB. So not a bad 3 over 4 for me. Then we have, I'm going to butcher this name, Kavar Scharfzutver. We went from what I'm pretty sure was normal English and maybe a hint of German to just straight up full German, and you cannot tell me otherwise with these 2 names. Anyways, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, auto and placed on Rearguard Circle. If your Vanguard's a grade 3 grade Rotovisor, choose one of your units against 5,000 power for the turn. Sadly, it can't be itself, but at least someone gets 5k, so it makes it a little bit easier for you to hit your opponent. And then auto when put on Guard Circle via any means, whether intercepting or from hand or move to Guard Circle. If your Vanguard's a grade 3 grade Rotovisor and its card name and your order zone has 2 or more arenas in it, Energy Blast 2 gets 7,000 shield for the battle. Okay, 50-50 on that skill because again, it is costing energy, and we already have a card that costs energy along with another really good support card that costs energy, but in case you really do need that extra shield, it is there available for you. And again, we do have that order that energy charges, which doesn't fix everything, but it's still an option, and again, it's a free 5k place, so it's not a 4 of, but it's like a 2 of 3 of because again, it gives numbers, and worst case scenario is a 15k shield. Then we have Revelation Dragon Melodizia, grade 2 and 5k shield, 10k base, a generic Stoic K, a double rare. So it continues Rearguard during turn if your drops on 10 or more cards and gets 5,000 power. So it's literally the grade 2 version of Philander who gained 10k if you have 10 or more cards drop zone. And then auto Rearguard, then attach it to anything, retire it, check the top 3, choose any number of them, mill them, and then if you discard it to your left, you shuffle the deck. So it's a free mill 3, which is good. I mean, like, if you are really trying to turbo out your drop zone, this card gets you 4 in one go because it kills itself and then it nets you 3 more. I don't know what build you're trying to use there that would do that, like Nectar Sensationalism, Zorga Mask Turbo, where you get to spam Nectar Sensationalism twice and then you fill up your drop zone galore really quickly with, like, you know, Roaming Prison, and then you do Melodizia and Philander and whatever. But I mean, hey, numbers are numbers, so it's not a bad card at all. 3 of if you choose to run it, because again, it is generic milling. Then we have Konodo Flu Dragon, Great 275 Kishio, 10k base. Such a cool looking card for such a crappy effect. Auto, or, you know, if you copy pasted effect, auto and put on Guard Circle from hand, counter boss mode, just triggering it from your drop zone other than the order trigger and call it to Guard Circle. Not bad, but as I said with all the other ones, you don't really need this in your deck unless you're playing a super defensive deck, and even then, you'd only really run this if you have budget. So 2 of, and even then that's kind of pushing it for this card. And on to our last reviews for the day. First up, we have a new order card for Vezuru, Amor Sem Vendario, grade 3 normal order. It's a Lunarite, aka the same thing as the original Vezuru order. Play this card if your Vanguard's a grade 3 or greater Vanguard Vezuru in the card name. Choose of your opponent's rear guards and mark it, and then until end of turn, all your Vanguards get auto Vanguard once per turn. When your rear guard Mythic and its card name is placed on rear guard circle by this unit's ability, the cost of that unit's original auto abilities are reduced by counter plus 1 till end of turn, which is all around pretty solid because that means your new grade 2 who is able to attack from back row costs 1 less, and not to mention the fact that the original wolf ancestor, I said that on pure accident, I meant to say like the original, you know, thing that had a skill that wasn't the bird, but apparently it's the original wolf ancestor, which is what Kagetsu actually says. That wasn't planned, but now that unit also has its abilities reduced, meaning you can just swing with it to draw a card. All around pretty solid. Again, I say it makes your cost a little bit easier, and it also marks the opponent's rear guard all for free, so not a bad order at all to have as like a 2 of. The only issue is, again, it takes into the space of the mythics. Then we have the second mythic, Midazor Garzarmos. God, I can't wait for the English dub so I can figure out how to say this thing's name. Grade 2 intercept 5k shield, 10k base. Auto plus on rear guard circle during the battle phase. If your Vanguard is a grade 3 or greater Vezurug, counter boss 1 until end of your opponent's next turn, it can swing from back row, and your opponent cannot choose it via card effects. They can still like mass retire it, though they have something like Varga Draggers for Roxashka. Then continues rear guard circle during your turn. If your opponent's Vanguard is a grade 3 or greater, this unit gets 5,000 power, and if you put in normal order, the strength is 15k instead of 5k. So, you know, you can proc that off with this order to give it the ability to attack for back row and have good numbers, or you can just play Iful, which will give it another plus 10k because it's Iful. All around, not a bad grade 2 at all. Gets the ability to attack from back row for a simple CB, can't be chosen by effects, and is a possible 25-35k swing just by your opponent being on grade 3, so not a bad 3 over 4 of. Then we have Sound of Waves. So this is the Regalius piece in the new Leonorn deck. Grade 2 Regalius piece, normal Blitz order. It's nationless, mind you. So Regalius piece, you may only have 1 Regalius piece in your deck and use a total of 1 time per fight. If your Vanguard's grade is lower than your opponent's Vanguard's grade, you can play this card ability without ignoring the grade. AKA, if your Vanguard's a grade 1 and your opponent's a grade 2, you can play this on your grade 1 turn. Anyways, choose one of your units being attacked and it gets 15,000 power for that battle, and then choose one of your opponent's units and it loses 5,000 power for the turn, but if your opponent Persona rolled this turn, loses 10k instead of 5. Honestly, pretty solid, because on your grade 1 turn, this is essentially an extra trigger that can guarantee your opponent's attack won't go through, because not only is it giving you plus 50k, but it's making sure your opponent also loses power, even if they do have a booster, which is great. But if you play this later in the game and your opponent didn't Persona ride, well, plus 15k to you, minus 10k to your opponent's units. Honestly, not a bad Blitz order at all. I think that's a really creative way to add defensive power, because it also minuses the opponent as well. So I think it's a solid, I was about to say 2 for some reason, it's a solid like 1 of if you really want that defensive ad. Then we have Shroud in Darkness, the Regalius piece for Drawjeweled. Nationless normal order, Regalius piece, you can have Regalius piece in your deck. If you did not ride from your ride deck this turn, this ability can be paid without paying the cost. So essentially, once you get to grade 3, this card becomes free. Play this card by counterblasting 1. Choose to 2 normies with total grades less than or equal to your Vanguard, have different card names from each other, and without Sentinel from the drop zone, call into rear guard circle. So essentially, as long as they're different grades from the Vanguard and from each other, or as long as they're different grades from the Vanguard, so they're not grade 3, presumably you play this after you roll to grade 3, they have different card names and they don't have Sentinel, you get to call it a rear guard, and if you called 1 or less from this effect, you put this card to your soul. Honestly, pretty solid. I mean, to get you a board back or get you a soul card. I feel like the one for Urara's deck is a lot better just because of, you know, 15k minus 5 / minus 10 to something, while this thing just gets you more rear guards, which there are other cards that do that for free, such as Forbiddable Darkness, which literally just grabs you to grade 3 from your deck. But I mean, cool, recycles cards from drops, and so it's not the worst card in the world. I just feel like Urara's order is a little bit better, but it's a one of if you really want to run it. And without further ado, this is for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. In the next one, we will have Black Knight reviews, and I cannot wait to see that. So see you all then. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and Twitch, and I'll see you all in the next one. Dress it up your Vanguards.